Last time you saw me, I was in Spain searching for the rarest cat in the world, the Iberian lynx. Since then, I've been all over the place, but my latest project took me to Ukraine, a very interesting place with quite a unique history.
30 years ago, the world experienced probably the worst nuclear disaster ever, the Chernobyl power plant explosion in Ukraine. 120 villages, 130,000 people displaced, leaving what is now a 2,600 square kilometre exclusion zone. People are still decommissioning the plant, and even some human settlers have moved back into some of the villages, despite the irradiation still being quite high. Something else that's moved back in, nature, and it is reclaiming everything it can. Trees are springing up from the houses. In the distance I can see an ancient Przowski's horse grazing. Red deer are bellowing, black grouse are calling from the woods, black woodpeckers are flying past. Nature abounds. With such a huge number of villages abandoned in the zone, there's plenty of places to explore. Most of these buildings have been ransacked or some have been vandalised, but they all offer quite good photo opportunities. The main reason I'm here in the zone is to see how nature is reclaiming it, and all of these places can offer a home to birds and mammals. We found plenty of old nests in here. Birds have moved on now, but definitely worth revisiting in the spring. And mammal trails surround many of the buildings.
But it's not just trails we found. We have been seeing beavers in the actual cooling pond just a matter of metres from the power plant. It's amazing they've made a lodge there. And on one of the larger cooling ponds, huge flocks of great white egrets fish in the shadow of the nuclear reactor itself. We've even had a very fleeting glimpse of a wolf, but there's one mammal that is incredibly hard to see globally, was once extinct and now is thriving in the zone, the Przowski's horse.
We've had a very distant encounter with a lone Przowski's horse and a nocturnal encounter with two others. But we've just been driving along this road and there's a small herd out here, so hopefully we're finally going to get some daytime shots. About 300 metres away I can see the herd of horses, and they seem to be browsing quite relaxed, but they can be very skittish. These are completely wild animals, the only true wild horse in the world. So fingers crossed we can get some shots. The wind's blowing towards me, so we'll stay this side. Just there, go into a group. Wow, big herd. Really, really big herd. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's a few young ones in there as well. It's incredible. This is normal, this is what they'll do. They'll go around the youngsters in the group. What I'm going to do now is back off slowly and leave these guys to it, and hopefully they'll still be here this evening.
And they were. With the wind still favouring my approach, I was able to get incredibly close. As the setting sun bathed them in golden light, I watched them graze and nuzzle one another. Spending time with such an ancient species was like stepping back in time.
Not only has nature moved back in, a year after the explosion, people moved back in, like Marie here, and she's been living here ever since, quite happily living off the land and having a great life, including growing potatoes, which, with a bit of sugar, she makes this samagon, and it's probably the strongest drink I've ever had, so apologies if any of the footage and photos becomes a bit blurry after this, but na zdrowie. Yeah. Wow.
We're amazed to learn that a year after the explosion, the government allowed people to return. However, they quickly changed their minds, which meant people like Marie continued to live in their homes illegally. She still has electricity, Rat, her pet cat, still needs feeding, as does her flock of chickens. Life for Marie goes on as normal.
Realistically, I'm not going to be able to explore the whole of the 2,500 square kilometres that the exclusion zone covers, mainly because some bits are just too unsafe to visit, but also because of time. However, I have chosen a few potential sites, like this village. It's quite photogenic and there's also well-worn animal trails dotted all over it, like this one. So I've set up a camera trap and over the next few nights, I've only got a few nights on this recce, hopefully something passes it and I get at least one photo. If I was doing a project on mice and voles, the shots I've got on this camera would be fantastic. I always knew putting it in here, there probably wouldn't be tons of stuff around, but I did wonder if there might be some stuff living in here, but it turns out it is just rodents. This time around, none of the cameras are anywhere long enough to really get stuff unless I was incredibly lucky. So even to get a raccoon dog, that's fantastic. But next time around, I'll put these out in spots for weeks, if not months, and hopefully we'll get some of the big stuff.